And we are live, coming at you with the One-Eyed Crew. We've never done this before. Welcome to the live stream version of the podcast. It's going to be interesting, I will say. I hope we're live. I now get every live stream person who's like, "Are we live?" Making sure it's up. I want to make sure before. Oh yeah, this is Will and Zach. Welcome, Will and Zach. I don't know.
Hey, I am here.
Here we go. We are here. All right. Well, do a tier list today. Listen, making fun of me for being cool. To them. We are going to be doing a live obviously to let the pressure not get to you. That's all I'm saying. And it's not today. Today is not that day. Today we are going to be doing a live stream with talking about our not necessarily favorite movies. These are the movies that we've covered in the last few well, actually all of the episodes. These are episodes 1 through 64. 64? Something like that. Of all the movies we've covered. And we're going to be ranking them. And I hope we have some fun with that. So, are you guys good? Are we ready?
I'm ready. You're just talking.
You there?
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying to buffer and try and entertain. And
All right, we're going to talk about movies, okay? I know. So, I actually haven't done much of a tier thing. I do have one question.
As we do.
Yeah, I just have one question, though, about the tiers. What is S tier? And why is it S tier, not A tier? What
okay,
does S
I believe
for?
S stands for superior. It's above A. It's better than all of them. It's better than the best. And we'll get there. And I believe I just found all the posters for most. Wait a second. Can I do this? Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, we'll just work our way down the line. I believe they were inserted randomly because you have. Actually, maybe not. These are pretty close to in order. Yeah, because the prestige just. So we will work our way. Thinking back to the first episode we ever did, the Prestige. Will, do you remember doing that? That was like a movie night I had with you and Josh.
Yep, we did it at Joshua's house.
And then I just said, "Hey, let's do so long." Okay, Zach, have you seen the Prestige? Start there because I know Will has.
Multiple times. Yeah, I just actually saw it. I rewatched it like 2 nights ago, and it's like my favorite Christopher Nolan film. So.
You watched it? Oh, sorry, you're really quiet. It's your favorite or one of your favorites?
Yeah, my favorite Nolan film and my third favorite overall.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that. I really loved it, but I know it was that high on your list.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Will, what do you remember about it? Do you remember the twists and all that?
Yeah. You don't really forget a twist for a Nolan film, I don't think. Hopefully. Although maybe that makes it more enjoyable for a rewatch. No, I remember that one pretty distinctly because we had the discussion and then we had the roundtable thing that basically, or the material for a roundtable that we used later on. But I remember that one. Yeah. Especially because that was yeah. I think I remember I think I remember it distinctly too because you had invited me over to his house to enjoy it, watch the film, whatever, and then you announced, "Hey, by the way, I'm doing a podcast." So, because that's when I learned about that. Well, I was like, "Oh, sweet."
Yeah, and that's how you got roped into this madness. Yeah. The Prestige it probably wouldn't have necessarily been my first pick, but I knew that I could get you guys to like it, and that started the Nolan Bros. It was very unfair for people like Zach who really liked Christopher Nolan movies, and we just kind of excluded him. But we'll be including him in other ones, like The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
But where would you guys put The Prestige on the list there?
S tier right away.
I don't know. I don't know. I think A tier. A tier. I don't feel like S tier. Maybe because I'm picky, but I don't know. I feel like A tier is like a maybe B tier if I'm feeling a little ungenerous, but like it's a really really solid good film.
I could settle for A tier.
I think you definitely. What keeps it from being S though?
I don't know. I guess I'm sick. If
I don't think anything keeps it.
If something's S tier for me, at least, it's got to be really, really, really stinking good. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm not thinking about it. A tier for sure.
I think it is. I'm with Zach on this one. Yes, starting with A. But I agree with Zach that I think that it's S tier. Maybe if we want, some people decide to do tier lists like the higher ones up to the left are more valuable than the ones on the right. So if we put it in S, it would end up being kind of last. It's right on the edge where there are definitely movies better than it, but it's really heckin' good by itself. Good? Is that cool?
Yeah, I think that works for me.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Top Gun Maverick. We really started off with a lot of good ones. I think I wanted some of my favorites to be the first episodes. What do you guys think Top Gun lands? Maverick, the second one, the latest.
You see, I haven't seen it though, which is my issue.
Dude.
Honestly, let me just see. I think I've seen most of these films. There's probably a couple that I haven't seen.
I forget that you don't see a lot of movies unless I ask you to for an episode.
Pretty much. Unless it's like an older film that would be on DVD or VHS, there's a good chance I haven't seen it. Or unless it's on Amazon Prime, because I have Amazon Prime through sources.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of films.
What did you think of it?
I would probably put it somewhere near Prestige. I put it like right on the same level as Prestige, where it's either like a high A or low S. Maybe above Prestige.
See, you would say above Prestige.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I honestly would put it at the top of A.
Okay.
But I still really like it. So I do agree with you. I think it's right in low S. I think I like it probably the same amount as Prestige, where there are still better ones, but it's still such a good movie. So I'll leave it at that. Is that fair? Sorry, I sometimes can see you guys, sometimes I can't because of the tabs I'm switching between.
No, I think that's pretty good. Again, I haven't watched it, but from what I can.
But you haven't seen it, so you can't.
But from what I can tell from everyone else talking about it, I think there's a couple parts in it that it's like a little, but that aren't like movie destroying. Whereas I don't think there's any scene for me in The Prestige that. Let's put it this way: if you were to compare Top Gun Maverick versus The Prestige, is there any scenes in The Prestige that you would think would be needed taken out to make it better? Whereas in Top Gun Maverick, do you think there could be any scenes that could be taken out or changed to make it better? Like generally.
I see what you're saying. That's a good way to say it.
Just based on like that metric and like what like you and Josh have talked about before, I feel like Top Gun Maverick, it's a good film. It's a really good film, but I think Prestige is like, I feel like it's less than The Prestige.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what I would change if I was the director of Top Gun Maverick, but or The Prestige. Saying if I had complete creative control, what I would change about it, I don't know. Ooh, that's the stuff I usually edit out. Yeah, I don't think we need to think too hard about it, but this is where we're starting with the first two episodes. If we're good with that, I don't know. I feel like I would still watch The Prestige over again because of the twist, or I would watch it over Top Gun Maverick because of the twist that it has, which I don't know. Yeah, we did spoil that in the episode, but that was one of our first, so maybe I shouldn't encourage people to listen to that. Anyways.
Free Guy.
Will, have you? I got to start each one with asking Will if he's seen it, so that I can know.
I was at your house and I
not.
watched this with you with your family at an event. I think.
What? Did I? Were you?
Yeah, because didn't you guys play it for a youth group thing? I'm like fairly certain because it came out in 2019, so I'm fairly certain.
It came out in 2021.
Oh, did it? Man, it feels like.
Yeah.
I still feel that I was.
Yeah,
I
it came out during the pandemic.
Okay, because I distinctly remember watching it twice. One time, I can't remember when, but I distinctly watched it one time at your house with a bunch of people. So maybe it wasn't a youth group thing. It was definitely an event of some sorts, and we watched it at your house. But yes, I have seen it, and I think that's an A tier. Okay. It's a solid like Ryan Reynolds film. It's comedic, but it also has a bit of heart. It's not just like pure ha funny. But sometimes it feels like a little like heavy with like all the tie-ins, but I think A tier, solid A tier.
Yeah, I would say it. I mean, it's probably in like the top 20 movies for me, I would say, but I do think it gets kind of cheesy and everything, and some of the cross promotion stuff.
Okay, I would
call it a solid A tier.
I would say it's the same amount of cheesy as something like Argyle, where it plays into it and it knows it's stupid.
I think it's better than Argyle.
Yay or nay? It is definitely better than Argyle.
A lot better.
But it's the same. It's the same feeling of understanding it's a comedy and playing into that.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm satisfied with the A. It's not perfect. It's really good. It's one of the few that I own a DVD for, so that I can watch it literally anytime I want without Disney Plus.
Well, that's actually another way that you can kind of like. This is going a bit off topic. There's actually another way you can kind of measure how good a film is would you buy a DVD for this just so you could like watch? So because like if you buy a DVD, that's kind of insinuating that you're going to rewatch it again. So that's kind of like one of the metrics that I use. Like, is this a CD type of film where I would actually buy a CD for it, or is it like, oh, I watched it, it's fine, and I enjoyed it, but I if I never saw it again, I wouldn't care. It's kind of like the rewatchability thing.
I just got the Prestige because of that, because I was like, oh, sorry, there's a lot of background noise right now. But I just got the Prestige because of that, because it's never consistently enough on a streaming service, so I just ordered it off of Amazon.
Yes. We assume that with streaming services now, you have to find where it's available and make sure it's on your streaming service that you like or that you own. When in reality, even physical media is way better. My dad has 300 to 400 DVDs, and that's nothing compared to some people. But being able to just have that at any point, and I'm starting to collect Blu-rays now, just to be able to have that. Usually, they also come with a digital one, so I throw them on, what is it, My Movies or something like that, whatever that app is.
Movies Anywhere.
Movies Anywhere, yeah. So I throw it on there, and then it's downloaded on my phone if I ever want it digitally. But then, yeah, usually the Blu-ray gives you the best quality and all that. So,
yeah. Speaking of which,
speaking of stream,
just a quick thing though. Just a question. This is gonna make me sound like really uneducated when it comes to movies. What exactly is the whole deal with Blu-ray? Because I'm of the family where you just like, not to say that we're poor, but like we just don't spend money on stuff like that. So, what exactly is like the lure of Blu-ray? That it just looks better? Is that the whole thing?
Maybe Zach can give a good definition, but I'm sure there's an image I can pull up here in a sec.
I don't know.
About the difference. Okay, I don't know. It's something that maybe you're like, oh, actually.
I don't know, because like people always say, oh, I got the Blu-ray. And it's like, what's so great about Blu-ray? Like, it's just the better, a cleaner, nicer looking version of it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, okay, that feels a little overrated,
Hi,
honestly. It's just, hey. Jordan.
Did you say hot Jordan?
I said, hey, Jordan. I know a guy in college who's called Jordan, so it's kind of funny for me.
Jordan's our composer for both the original soundtrack or the theme song of When I Film Podcasts and for the audio drama, which we're going to be working on the second one here in a bit. Okay, Will and Zach, This is just interesting just to see. This is. Did I share the wrong? I'm not sharing anything.
Yeah, I don't see. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I canceled it. That's why. Okay. This is Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman. I don't know how accurate this is, but I know Blu-ray can kind of enhance the colors a little bit. It makes them a little bit more vibrant, a little more contrasty, and then 4K ups the resolution. So DVD, I think that this is pretty bad. This is like 720 or even 360p. I don't think DVDs are actually this bad, but 4K can be upscaled, an upscaled version of the DVD. And then Blu-ray just kind of works with see how DVD and 4K are similar tones to his skin, and then Blu-ray it kind of looks a little bit different. That's basically the difference, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't. I just on the Blu-ray always annoyed me because you had to like, if you got the DVDs with like the CD and then the regular Blu-ray, you can never actually use a Blu-ray because we didn't have like, I think you have like a Right TV or something like that for it, but. So mostly they just annoyed me.
I think, you can play a normal DVD and a Blu-ray player, not vice versa. And you even sometimes it affects which TV you have because you need to make sure it can display those colors if it's contrasting certain colors differently. Okay, speaking of streaming and how streaming it, we love side tangents. Streaming is not superior to physical media, even though it's convenient. Spirited is on Apple TV. Uh-oh. There went my camera.
Bye-bye.
Who'da thunk? For the people who, anyone who's not behind the scenes on a weekly basis, aka anyone who's not a co-host, no, I do not have a camera that can plug into a charger as it's being used, or not at all. The batteries have to be, but now we're live streaming, so it's even worse. I have to swap out batteries. I have like 3 that I keep charging. It's really bad. Anyways, another side tangent over. Spirited. I don't even know. Have you guys seen Spirited? Because it's on Apple TV, and that's like the least.
I think that you and I did that one. I watched it.
A very unpopular. What's that?
I think you.
Oh,
I'm not sure if anyone else
Luke did it.
Maybe it was because I watched it for sure. I know that, and I'm pretty sure I did that episode. So maybe it was like you, Luke, you and I. But I just thought it was like it wasn't terrible, but it was just kind of meh. It was just kind of meh.
Yeah. Zach, have you seen it?
I went through the whole hassle of trying to start an Apple TV free trial, which took like 2 calls to Apple and everything to try and figure out. But I did get it, and I did get to watch the movie, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I'd probably put it at a solid B tier, I think.
Yeah, I think B tier is pretty good answer.
I would say B, because there are a lot of things that could have been improved. Again, it's Ryan Reynolds' stupid dumb movie, but it honestly had a great theme of redemption, which is the reason we made it or covered it, is because it's the retelling of Scrooge and the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future, and that whole story modernized with music, like it's a musical, but it was also not amazing. Like the songs were what you would expect from a non-Broadway production. Like it's just okay, but I like the message. B tier is good. When we start populating these, we'll be like, okay, was it better or worse than this? We gotta keep moving. Which of you guys have seen Andor?
I saw Rogue One.
That doesn't count.
I think I saw 2 episodes of Andor. So,
Isaac would be so disappointed in you.
That's right, because Isaac the Star Wars guy.
I will throw. Yeah.
If you want it there, Seth, you can put it there.
Will, one of my favorite memories from early on when we started this was doing Is Star Wars Dead with you, and then after we stopped recording, you said, "Yeah, I'm not really that much of a Star Wars guy." I'm like, We just did a whole episode talking about Star Wars.
Well, it's more the fact like I enjoy
Um,
it, but I'm not like I'm not as intensely devoted to it as I'm not like a super. I'm not a. I'm not. I mean, I'm like a C tier Star Wars nerd probably, not like an A tier, if we're using tier terminology.
Yeah.
Mostly because like I
Wait,
know
Zach, I know.
most of the stuff, but I
Go
haven't
ahead.
watched all of it.
Sure. Zach, what is what since we're doing a tier list, where would you rank yourself as a Star Wars fan? Because I know you're mostly Marvel and you also keep up with Star Wars, but you obviously haven't seen Andor. So
I've kind of fallen off of Star Wars somewhat. You know, I have only seen 2 episodes of Andor. I think I've seen 2 episodes of Bad Batch. Only like 2 or 3 of season 3 of Mandalorian. So I don't know. I think it just got to be just I don't know too much. It just didn't really seem that good to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
In my defense, just to say, I like most of like Star Wars has like basically become gone into the Marvel effect where like they have so many TV shows and they're all streaming and you need Disney Plus and I don't have Disney Plus. So I have seen the sequel trilogy. So to be fair, I kind of can't really watch like everything because there's a lot. They're always coming out with more TV shows, and 2, it's behind the streaming service, which I don't have. So I do have access to the wiki though, so I am a proud wiki boy, wiki user. I don't know.
I will say I watched the first 2 episodes of Andor with a group of friends, and after the second episode finished, we all just kind of looked at each other and went, "Well, that was boring." None of us really liked it that much.
Oof.
I feel
That's
like
gonna
Isaac
hurt
needs to
me.
hop on right now and shame you for saying that it's boring.
I heard it picks up in episode 3, so maybe I have to keep watching.
I forget which episode it picks up in, but it definitely picks up. It becomes it. I mean, I'd say it's the best Star Wars content since Revenge of the Sith. Well, no, I take that back. Mandalorian season 1. But besides that, that's why I put it in S tier, low S tier, possibly high A tier. But that's my rating, and I'm sticking to it because none of you guys can complain because you haven't even seen it.
Yeah, that's fair. Just a quick question though, like have you watched any of the other like Clone Wars era look like animated shows? Like I know that they've got like Tales of the Jedi. Now they've got Tales of. Then they had like the Bad Batch, and then now they're coming out with Tales of the Empire, which is really interesting because they have Varys Offee, and it looks like they have Asajj Ventress in some of that stuff as well. Have you seen any of that though, Seth?
No, I haven't kept up with those.
Okay.
Isaac and I actually have a Star Wars episode coming out very soon about those shows, and he's kept up with them. I have not, except through news, and so you can listen to that episode when it comes out.
I think again, I
Anyways.
just seen like 2 episodes of Tales of the Jedi, and I mean I like those. I just didn't keep up with it. So.
Yeah, I watched one episode and I was like, I'm not getting anything that crazy out of this. So, all right, Avatar: Way of Water. Yay or nay? Have you seen it?
I have because we both talked about it.
I have not seen it. So
You have not. Okay, did you see the first one?
no.
Really? Wow.
All right. I won't say you're missing out. I don't know what Will's thoughts are, but my initial reaction is high B, but I also want to put it in A just because the visual effects are so good.
Yeah, it's like there's certain elements of the movie that make it an A tier movie, but there's certain elements that make it a B tier. Like it gets really long, and like the story isn't terrible, but it's and like some parts of the story are like, oh, that's pretty good, that's like interesting, and some of the world's building is like, oh, that's pretty nice. But there's also like, I'd say the story in general isn't like the most incredible story, but it doesn't like at the same time it's not like, oh man, I can't believe I'm being dragged through this. And it gets on some points, it drags on a little bit, but I don't know, like,
Well, okay.
and the visual effects are pretty good, so I don't know.
Does the story of Avatar drag down the visual effects, or does the visual effects bring up the story? Because that determines A or B for me.
I think that it's a decent story with great visuals. It's not a bad story that's raised up by great visuals. I think it's like if you got rid of the visuals, it would be a decent, like not the best. It'd probably be just like if it wasn't the visual, I think it'd be B tier. But with the visuals, I think it'd be A tier because it just just like some of the characters are kind of fun in my opinion. I kind of like, especially Quaritch's character. I just love.
You do like Quaritch, I remember that.
He's just like a simple bad guy, you know. It's like you you just can't kill me. I am the human supremacist, hands down. I'm sorry, I destroyed the blue monkeys. It's okay, you know.
Okay. My former roommate is in the chat.
Oh.
He says there's no way Top Gun Maverick is an S tier movie.
Oof.
I highly disagree with you, Trevor. I don't know why you think less of it. Maybe I would understand putting it A-ish, but honestly, it's nothing lower than A. It's so much fun to watch, especially if you have the right sound for it. And this is my tier list, so make your own tier list.
If you want it, yeah.
Honestly, if I can figure it out, I will put this spreadsheet or this. Then you're just wrong, he says. I'll put this tier list in our Discord, and maybe you can throw it out, take a screenshot of it, take a screenshot of how you place them, and then let us know because I'd be interested to know. Obviously, we have no authority here. These are very opinionated opinions. I'm trying to read chat. I still disagree with Trevor. sorry, dude.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna say that for Way Water, I think A is probably maybe I feel like A tier isn't like that.
I'll say
A. It's if we can change our mind, you can always change. But I feel like it's a good film. It's a fine film. I probably just wouldn't watch through all of it in its entirety again, maybe. So, but yeah.
Yep. Okay. Arcane. Zach has not seen Arcane. S tier all the way to the top.
S tier.
I know Josh would argue that too. Zach needs to be able to watch it before season 2 comes out, but Arcane is really good. It has flaws in morality, but I think it's overlooked, not because we want to lower the bar for morality, but because it's used in the story so well, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And it's just the characters.
Yeah.
Like just Silco is.
Sorry, what's that?
Peak.
I was saying I got a message from Ellie in all caps saying I need to watch it, so I think I'll get around to it.
Yep. We need to have you over for a movie night. All right. Arcane, pretty cut and dry. Prince of Egypt. You guys both have seen this, right?
Straight to S tier. I will not argue.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree, but at the same time, I wonder, like, because is there anything that's like really I think is negative about it? Nothing like
No.
yeah. I think S tier is probably. I think S tier is probably pretty good. I guess.
Yeah. Would you watch it over Andor? Well, okay, I can't ask Zach that. Or will.
See, and I feel like Prince of Egypt is like easier, is a different game field because it's a TV show versus a movie. And like for me, I generally pick movies because they're shorter and I don't have to invest as much time because I'm the type of person where if I start something, I feel like I have to complete it. So if I start a TV show, I feel like I have to complete it. So in that sense, that's not quite the same. Comparison to, I think I would definitely watch it over Prestige because of the animation style and it's got the musicals and it's like the messages. The message isn't like it's sort of biblical. It's a little weird, but so I think S tier is actually probably not.
I think I would watch it over Top Gun Maverick because of the music. The music is amazing. It's nostalgic. It looks great after being out for so long. But I would still watch the Prestige over it because I still love that twist. And you have to watch the movie to know what I'm talking about. But that's what makes it so good. It's one of my favorites, and I don't think Prince of Egypt can top that, even though it's really good. Again, we're arguing about S tier. This is still superb, superior movies. I think it stands for superior, pretty sure. So don't feel bad just because it's low S. next up we have Ant-Man. Now I did for a lot of these, like over here I have Harry Potter, and then I have the different Star Wars trilogies in their own right, but just one movie to represent them. Ant-Man, however, I wanted to split up into two different ones because I really love the first Ant-Man. I would say IB low A. It's solid. But
Yeah, I feel
Quantumania,
like A tier.
D tier.
I haven't watched it, but I don't think I need to, based on how much people don't like it.
this is going to be
The Nope tier.
Adam Webb.
Okay, see, the thing is, I still kind of really want to watch Madam Web just to see if it is as bad as people say it is. Because
Yes,
like
it is so bad.
I am the type of person who literally kind of goes out of their way to like watch like poorly made, like made for like deep like home video type of like movies that are free like online that you can just find randomly because they're so bad that nobody's gonna make a profit off. And I somewhat kind of enjoy those ones. So I don't know. I just feel like I just kind of want to see if it is that actually that bad.
It is so bad. Zach, did you ever end up watching it?
Madam Web?
Yeah.
No, I never saw Madam Web.
Okay. I am thinking about doing a podcast movie night where we'll get to watch it and make fun of it. And maybe even record it so it's more content.
I would actually be actually be down for that. That'd be fun.
Yes. We'll explore that idea. But Quantumania, just as bad as Madam Web. Excuse me. Ant-Man, the first one would be A or B, I think, for me.
I think A tier.
I almost want to go back to B only because it's not a standout Marvel movie. It's just above average. It's charming though. It has Luis's story, story time is so fun to watch. I think this is still one of the original movies that had a physical suit to put on that made it so much more fun than just a nanotech that they had in Quantumania. I know I'm listing pros. I don't know.
I mean, I think that it works as an A tier because it's got mostly because of the relationship between Scott and like his family and especially his daughter. I just really like that dynamic because I don't know, like in like later on like Marvel films, it gets like the relationships between characters I don't know is mostly friendly and it just feels a little different. Especially with like I don't really know the relationship between Cassie and her dad in the sequel. I'm assuming it's not as good, but I just like that dynamic a lot, and just like Scott's character where he's legitimately trying to be a good, better person, but he just like is having difficulty getting out of prison and doing that, and then he becomes Ant-Man, and like that changes the whole dynamic. So I don't know, I feel like that makes it like a pretty good film.
Yeah, I just realized I'm backwards.
No, now you're backwards to me.
No, you're backwards. Okay. I know I'm backwards to you, but on the live stream, for some reason, it's flipped again. So I'm flipping it back.
Yeah, whatever.
What matters is what's on the live stream, guys. Anyways, we've been going for a half hour. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think Ant-Man stays in A. A for Ant-Man. A for Avatar. Dang, we're off strong. Forget about Free Guy. Just imagine he doesn't exist. A for Avatar, A for Ant-Man. Zach, have you seen Puss in Boots 2?
I have not.
Oh my goodness.
I still need to see that one too.
You see some of the really good ones, but not all of them. Will, you saw this with me. I think it's right here.
I think it's an S tier too, because yeah, I feel like it's better than like an average film. Like it's definitely better than like an average film, but yeah, I think S tier is pretty much the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Trevor says that Puss and Boots, both the words Puss and Boots have S in them, so they will be S.
They shall be S.
No, I think it's such a simple story that looks beautiful, is a kid's movie, and also just hits home. It even hits you in the feels. It hits you in the feels sometimes, and I love that. It's, again, one of the movies that I own. It's so good. It's so weird that it's a Shrek spinoff and a sequel to the Shrek spinoff. The first Puss in Boots movie, I think, had a villain that was Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty, and they're going to get the golden goose.
Which is a very Shrek thing to do. But then it just kind of pivots, and it still has Goldilocks. It has like the fairy tales characters. But that it's so good. It's such it's the painterly style that we've come to love, even though it's starting to be a little overused. It still looks great. I get chills every time the final fight with Death comes. I might still have. I just always have it on silent. The Death's whistle as my ringtone. It's so I think Josh actually does still have that. It's just nobody uses ringtones anymore. It's just vibrations. Anyways. Oh, I see what you're saying, Trevor. Sorry, you don't want me calling you that. Aquatine 500. Sounds like a robot. Yeah, he's saying a tier above S.
That feels a little much, I think.
I'm sorry. The other movies on S, I would still watch over Puss in Boots, even if it's really great. Again, we're arguing about S tier. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I would be offended if it was A for sure, but it's S right now. All right. Jojo Rabbit. Have either of you seen that?
I have.
No, I have.
You
not.
did because you did a project on it. But what, Zach?
I said I have not. Is that one directed by Waititi?
Yes, I believe so.
Taika Waititi, yeah. I'd say A tier.
Yep.
It's funny. It's pretty enjoyable. It's a good satire and comedy. And it's not like annoying to watch through. I think it's like I think that shows Waititi's strength when it comes to like making films and stuff like that. So and it's not just a comedy. It's also got some good like feels to it as well. So A tier.
Yeah, for sure. It's a comedy that doesn't. It's a comedy that doesn't hold back. That's for sure. I mean, it's about Hitler in World War II and makes a lot of good points without being sympathetic, I think is the point. And it's a very interesting in the comedies where you can address things because it's a comedy, because you have that leeway to do it. It becomes so much better because you're not really going to offend people because it's a comedy. That's where the most truth can be shared, is in comedy, because everyone's laughing at it. So that's my quick thoughts on Jojo Rabbit. Again, all of these movies are ones that we've covered already. And so we are going to we already have full episodes on them if you want to listen to them. A Quiet Place 1 and 2. Unless if any of these are in groups that you would rather me split them up, I will definitely do that. But Zach is the Quiet Place guy. What do you think?
I would put him S tier, like above Prestige at least.
Above Prestige?
I think so.
Okay, here's where I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
They're short and not. Okay, I am keeping the Prestige very sacred, and I shouldn't be. So I agree with you. Only because it's really The Last of Us. If John Krasinski, I said that in the episode. I think he said it's if John Krasinski saw The Last of Us and was like, I could do that better. And he did. Honestly, we'll get to The Last of Us next, but the Quiet Place, both movies, and hopefully the day one coming out this summer, are just really good with tension. They're PG-13 horror movies, which make it, more acceptable. We have a whole episode on that, but it's really good with how it's used.
Yeah, both of
Any
those
other reasons
together, I was just saying both of those together are collectively my second favorite movie. So
both of those together make one Oppenheimer, if you think about it. It's like they're short movies, which can be good in their own right. Okay, The Last of Us. Have either of you played the game or watched the movie? The show.
I've watched the show.
Through my
whole
association
thing?
with Josh, I know everything about it.
You know everything through Josh.
Not literally, but like I basically know the whole spiel because Joshua loves it and he gushes all over
Okay.
about it, especially the game.
But Zach, you never played the game.
I know.
Okay. So I want to hear where you guys would, or I want to hear where Zach would put it because he's seen the show.
I would probably say low A. That's what I think.
Okay.
Based on
I would agree with
yeah,
you.
I would agree with the A.
I think there's
Except,
one episode that brings it down.
yes. Well, I think that's why I would put it in B. It among the morality debates that you could have about 2 episodes, actually, there is also a lot that they got wrong between making the game into a movie. And so I, as a person who played the game first, there were a lot of things that they could have done differently. Now, some of them you just simply can't recreate. People would say that the horde rush of the clickers coming out of the ground, that scene was one of the best ones because that's felt like Last of Us. It felt like the zombie apocalypse part. Whereas the rest of the show outside of that took a very dramatic turn, as in drama. It was very emotional, focused on the characters, which is great. That's, I think, what makes the games good. But it was too much of that and not enough zombies. And I think Josh said, keep your relationships out of my zombie show, because you kind of want to see zombies. You want to see how they survive. Things are pushed along really quickly because it's a TV show. I think there's other things besides the morality debate that make it lower than A.
Yeah, I can't really say much because I haven't watched it.
Okay. Cool. Tenet. Zach, where would you put Tenet?
Bye, guys. No.
Zach and I have beef about Tenet. Why? Okay, first, where would you put it?
I would say C, to be honest.
Ooh.
Killing me, Small.
I just think compared to the rest of Nolan's films, it's just like painfully mediocre.
Oh,
That's why.
you got them fighting words there.
Put it next to Inception, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, or The Prestige, and it's just okay. That's
right.
That's my stand.
You're right. If I had to watch any of Nolan's movies, it would be like 5th or 6th, maybe lower than that, on my list of which ones I would watch. And yet, I will enjoy Tenet every single time I watch it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's so enjoyable. I just think it's just okay.
Broke my pen. Just broke my pen. It's funny.
R.I.P.
Anyways, can we compromise? Low A.
Low A.
Okay, any other Tenet movie is going to be above that.
I think low A is pretty good.
No, sorry, Nolan movie, not Tenet movie. Duh.
I think low A works, honestly.
Yeah, we can do low A.
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. It's a compromise, and I'm kind of edging it out because I have control. Okay. Passion of the Christ. Have you guys seen that?
No.
That one's kind of tricky because of like its religious element. I don't want to necessarily put it up just because of that.
Exactly.
But I do think that it is a really well done film. I like the fact that it's in Arabic and stuff like that, and that it is also a very good gut punch, and like in the depiction of the death and resurrection of Christ. So I think I would actually say I think it's an S tier.
Mm. Okay. Zach, have you seen it? Oh,
No,
okay. All good, no hate. So Will says S tier. Yeah, I would agree. I watched it for Easter this year again, and it hits you in the feels. It's a little cheating just because we are Christians, and so we want to automatically give it the best it can be. But I would still put it low S just because it's still hard to watch. It's not fun. It's meaningful to us, but it's not fun. And so keeping it lower for the sake of entertainment is my reasoning. I don't mean to demean the sacrifice of Jesus or the dramatization of it through Passion of the Christ, but that's my thought process. It's not an easy watch, and I know Isaac would argue with that. Not argue. He would say that as well, because he did that episode on Passion of the Christ. Cool. Iron Man. Zach, didn't we do the Iron Man episode, you and I?
Yeah, we did.
So it was kind of about the character. Is that?
Are we talking about the
I'd
trilogy
say
as a
A.
whole?
Sorry, I can't hear Zach.
Are we talking about the trilogy as a whole?
Up for debate. We talked about the character of Iron Man, and I just represented it with the first Iron Man. I would say let's just rate the trilogy. That might be a problem because 3 can be bogged down a little bit, or 2.
I love the third one. The second one.
You like 3? Okay. I think A is good. I mean, it's. I'm realizing a lot of them are just sorting between S and A because they're really good. That's why we choose to cover them. But I have yet to rewatch Iron Man in a while. I would put it probably first in A. At least the first movie. Maybe lower if we're considering the whole trilogy.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah, the first movie, because I didn't watch like I didn't watch it like super recently, but I watched it relatively recently, and I seen the second one as well. And it is a very good, solid film. Like, just really solid is really pretty much the best way I can describe it. Almost, yeah. Like it's just the character. You get to see Iron Man as character, and it's a really good start for the MCU. So I think for all that, that's pretty good place to put it.
Roman has entered the building. Beacon. Number one fan of the One Eyed Film podcast, I would say. Not really. Don't want to rate fans, but my fiance does listen very regularly. Actually, I know she's the number one fan. Technically, she has to be. There goes my camera. But she's also cheating because she's my fiance, and she's also been a co-host. So technically, again, it doesn't actually matter. Roman, I know, messages me like within the first hour or 2 of the episode going live with critiques. Like getting a title wrong. Sorry, Roman. I heard hockey pants. I don't know if you guys followed that drama.
Was that in the Discord?
Yeah. Roman was like, Seth, I think it's hockey pads. I'm like, no, it isn't. And I went and listened to it. It still sounds like hockey pants, but all of the internet says hockey pads because that's what the script says. And apparently that means the script is correct.
It did sound like hockey.
I think it's hockey pants. And I think Christian Bale even had a. I know I'm wrong, but I want to argue why I'm right.
That is such a guy thing to do. You're going to be a great husband.
I know I'm wrong, but I want to be right. Okay. So Iron Man's up there, middle of A. Jesus Revolution.
Haven't
See,
seen
even
it.
Roman admits it. Well, okay, Will. One of my favorite clips from the funny moments, and obviously, actually, it was our 2023 predictions. You said, you know what? I really don't have that high of a view of hippies, so I don't think I'm going to watch this. And I'm like, this movie is for you. You need to watch it. And you didn't. You did not watch it. That's the whole point of the movie.
Well, it came out in theaters, and I don't go to theaters, like I've explained this before. Unless, yeah, I still don't have a high view of hippies. And I think,
Zach, did you see it?
I did not know. So, but where do you want, Seth?
So I'm the only one who's seen it. Okay.
Yeah.
I will put it above. No. I really like it. It's in A. I'm gonna say. Oops. I would watch Ant-Man over it. It does a really great job accurately representing Christians. It doesn't make us seem perfect. It doesn't make us seem like a bunch of hypocrites and liars, even though a lot of people are. It's just authentic. It shows where false teaching can go wrong. I think it's one where it makes it seem very surreal, and I need to watch it again. It's been almost a year, but I really liked it when I first saw it, so I'm going to leave it up there in A.
Mm-hmm. Just speaking of like just Jesus Revolution adjacent stuff, have you heard of that that one film, the King and Country film, the Unsung Hero?
I follow for King Country very closely, and so I got early access tickets as soon as they were released. I'm seeing it in a week and a half.
Oh, really?
Almost on my birthday, which I will not disclose my birthday. Don't dox me with my birthday.
It's March 21st.
I don't know if that makes any sense. Really excited, especially I've heard the stuff they've released for them for the like they pre-released the songs, and there's a lot of new versions of old songs. So the most the show us the original. Is this okay? So they've also done Place in This World with Michael W. Smith, so it's a new version of that. I thought they did at least one more, but then it's Unsung Hero, their original song, and then To Hell with the Devil. Yeah, those are some really fun stuff. Fun movies.
Yeah,
fun songs. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just talking.
Yeah, I only asked because I had seen it. Like I'd seen the trailer for it when I was at a concert last night.
Yeah, you were at a
Newsboys and Mercy Me, which is actually nice.
Oh,
it's a double because they're doing a. I'll do a bit of a splurge, but they're doing the Always Only Jesus tour, but both bands are doing it. They're combining.
Wow, that's cool.
So it was really cool. So like you opened up with Newsboys, and then you went into Mercy Me, and that's like one of the first concerts I've ever been to, so it was really cool. But yeah, I'd seen that there.
Have you seen I Can Only Imagine the movie? It's not on our list, but
that was a really good film.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I love that. That one was solid. We should talk about that one sometime. Kind of there was kind of a push for these artists making movies, not necessarily about themselves, but studios making movies about Christian artists. And they did. They've done. I Can Only Imagine about Bart from Mercy Me. They've done. It's not Jason Gray. Jeremy Camp. I Still Believe. Jeremy Camp. I feel like there's at least one more. Maybe I'm thinking of Jesus Revolution, but yeah, real people, real stories, and then Unsung Heroes coming out in a couple weeks, so that'll be cool. Moving on, the dreaded Harry Potter.
A tier.
No good Christian should watch Harry Potter, right?
Honestly, it was never that much of an issue actually for my family, but at the same time, I don't think we even really knew much about it.
Sure.
Like my sisters have all the films, and I haven't read the books, but I have watched every single of the films, and they definitely get progressively darker. But at the same time, like, oh, this is kind of nice. Yeah.
But they grow up. They grow up with it instead of just getting darker because no reason. Yeah, I think it goes pretty high. As a whole trilogy, it's an adventure through the whole thing.
Not a trilogy. It's a
Roman says
it's a septology.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean that. I meant saga. Roman says B. I don't know why B. I don't know what drags it down. It's one of those that was amazing as it was coming out, and being the MCU of its time. As you know, as they grow up, you follow the characters, you follow how they grow up, all of that stuff. I think they also show the innovation in animation and visual effects as they get older, and I really like them when I watch them. Oh, that makes sense, Roman. He says A if you've never read the books, but B if any book reader any book reader knows it's B. That makes sense. You're right though. I think because I was about to put it low A, I will put it in B for your sake, Roman, because I know that book readers get very defensive about how book adaptations are made into movies, and actually Will and I have an episode coming out on that in the coming weeks. So there you go, Roman. Happy birthday. His birthday is. I'm being nice. Guardians of the Galaxy. Too much
I
good
would say
stuff
high
left
A.
out. High
Honestly,
A.
I think that's a B. I think that's like a high B.
Oh, you would say Guardians is B?
Yeah, it never stood out a lot to me. Like it was a fine film. I enjoyed it, but and I actually watched that in theaters.
Zach's
so.
face.
Have you seen the third one, Will?
Oh, are we talking
Exactly.
about
Have you seen the third
are we
one?
talking about the trilogy though?
The trilogy.
Oh, okay. Then I guess it's an A. I haven't seen the third one though.
I don't think it's high A. I would still watch Iron Man. I would put it between Iron Man and Ant-Man. I would watch Iron Man before Guardians, but then Ant-Man right after.
I mean, I would watch Guardians 3 before all the Iron Man movies, but as a whole, yeah, I think I would put it.
As a whole, yes. I'm reading the chat as I'm realizing how difficult live streaming can be, having so many different things to pay attention to as a producer. And then I have the chat right there. I'm like trying to read and keep up. And I know it's delayed a little bit, so when you type it, it takes me a second to see and read it, and then my reaction gets streamed. Yeah. I feel. Okay. Yes, I think the other two movies, not that they're bad, but the Guardians 3 being almost S tier as a trilogy group together, Guardians 1 and 2 were pretty good, and so that kind of drags it under Iron Man. I think that's fair. Man, we need some C and D movies in here. Where are they? I think they're coming.
We just have good taste, I guess.
We have good taste. No, I see a few coming. I see a few coming. Inception.
A.
Will
A.
use A?
High A.
Why not
I
S?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe like it's a little bit maybe a bit highbrow, I suppose. I don't know. I just feel like A is more natural, like a high A, or maybe a really low S. Let's see. Cause I mean, yeah,
Zach,
I probably
do
watched
you
that
disagree?
one.
I just think there are better Nolan films, so I would say high A.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
you're just in your. You're not
Your
wrong.
opinions on Nolan are
Roman
just
says
valid.
S.
Wow.
Roman says S. I love Inception. It's one of the easiest Nolan movies to understand. It's
That is
very
true.
compared to all the other ones. I would say you get it very easily because everyone dreams, and so you get that comparison to your own life. The only reason it would end up in A is because there are better Nolan movies, which you're right, there definitely are. But I don't think that's enough to drag it to A because you can still put Nolan movies up in S and above that. I would watch it over Passion of the Christ, though. Maybe over Puss in Boots. But yes, there's still plenty of room to put Nolan movies above that. Fair?
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay, that's fair. Sound of Freedom. William, this is like the one movie you saw in theaters. Did you?
Yeah, I watched it in theaters. And I watched it more than once. So, like, I think I would say maybe S tier because of like the emotion behind it. Maybe not so much behind because it's not like I don't know because that's a kind of a hard for me because like it's one of the few films that can generally make me like feel like oofta, like a really strong emotional reaction towards it because of the content. But like there's other films that I think have just better story, which is no fault like Sound of Freedom because like Sound of Freedom is telling like a real life story. So I feel like S tier is an I think I'm gonna go with S tier, but or maybe really really high A tier. But I feel like S tier is.
Yeah, you haven't seen. I Roman told me to make a Nolan tier above that. I think he's right. It's funny, and yet Tenet still stays in A. Against my better judgment, they're still up here, and we can rank Nolan movies kind of separately. We'll get there. Oh, I forgot to add those. Give me a second. You guys talk about Sound of Freedom more.
I would say
Sound of Freedom. Actually, I'm curious because I saw like this recent video that was like an hour long, which is basically making the claim that Sound of Freedom was like basically like propaganda, like modern day propaganda. And it was more critical of it. And then there's like another film that's like talking about how Sound of Freedom was a video was like how Sound of Freedom was like a $2,000 million scam. So that's interesting because I didn't really watch those, but I think from that perspective, the idea was that like they're more or less using a heavily emotional topic in order to like either get people to watch it or just to make some sort of argument that's not as good. But I don't know what you could be really, really critical about Sound of Freedom for, besides maybe the fact that like the producers themselves aren't being honest about it. And maybe just using
be
like
critical of Sound of Freedom. Well, no, you can be critical of any movie, but some people genuinely don't like it because it's too real, and that's the sad part. People don't like it because it exposes too much of the real world, and so that's scary. And I'm sure that there were some shifty things going on with like the actual guy, and how his hand played a role in the movie, as well as some anti-trafficking organizations said this is glorifying making trafficking saving. There goes my camera. Making anti-trafficking look like a superhero movie, and I don't think it is. I think it's come on. I think it's making it dramatic because you have to make it dramatic for the story. And people aren't going to watch it if it's just a documentary. You're going to get a lot more people in as a movie and a little bit dramatized.
and like in like the marketing for it, they kind of were trying to make the point. At least the main actor who plays the actor who plays the main character was trying to make the point that he's not the hero of the story; it's the kids who are or are supposed to be. So I don't know. That's just something interesting about it.
I would say it's got an S tier message, is what I would say. But I think that can kind of like cloud our judgment on the quality of the film. So I think all the S tier are like better in terms of quality. So I would keep it in high A.
I think I could agree with that.
For sure. I think I need to get through a lot of these and rewatch them just because a lot of them I watched once, I had an opinion, I made an episode, and then moved on. But like a lot of them that we've covered so far, I would rewatch just for the sake of what do I think of this now. Okay, Greatest Showman, William. You cannot simply put this in S because you like it.
I'm gonna put it in S because I like it. I can disagree with some of the message behind it, but I just like it. It's one of my. I like it.
I would say C, to be honest.
Ooh.
Oh, and fight.
You see, I can understand that perspective because if you don't care about it, then like, it's just.
No, I love the movie, but I would still put it in C tier.
Why is that?
I think it's got an S tier soundtrack. It's got S tier choreography, casting, performances, but the story is lacking.
The story's not that bad, though. I don't think. Like, you could make the argument. I can understand the argument that the story's like kind of meh, but it's not really that bad. I don't think because like I don't think it's C tier bad. I think you make it maybe B tier. I think it's more like an A tier. No, I think B tier story is because it's like A or B tier story. I don't think it's a C tier story.
I would argue that it's a C tier story. I know Roman says C, Zach says C. I think B is B or low A simply because it is a great soundtrack that is always going to be hype.
Yeah.
The casting, amazing. It might be riding on the hype train of celebrities being cast in it, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. I would say, yeah, it is right next to Harry Potter. It's a enjoyable watch. And I don't know if Hannah is saying the music makes it B because it's worse, because it's not a musical like Lin-Manuel Miranda's soundtrack. Anything like that would bump it up like if it was Broadway level. It's not Broadway level. It's more of a toned down. I think a lot of theater purists or musical purists would say it's not a real musical. I know my sister would have something to say about that. But yes, I think B is good. What?
I feel like A's. I feel like it's more like an A film because I don't really see what you guys don't like so much about the story. Because like the story is kind of like bland, I suppose, but it's not really that bad. Because it's telling the story of a guy who has like this two main goals of sorts. Like he wants to become like well known and stuff like that, and he has like these promises and these dreams he wants to fulfill. But at the same time, he also has this love for his family, and like those two kind of like desires kind of draw into conflict. They propel him forwards and push him towards doing the circus and like reaching out to people who are at least in the context of the film like less recognized. And he tries to build a family, but then like it's the main like crux of the issue is that like he starts to fall away from what matters most to him, and then at the end of the film he realizes that he moves back towards what matters most. So like, I mean, I don't really see what's really so bad about the story that it would be C tier.
It also makes P.T. Barnum look like a better guy than he actually was.
Okay, but that's like a movie thing in general. Every film, like anything that's historical, does that. And yes, I know because I know like P.T. Barnum was not that, but considering the fact that we also have like, I don't know, that's not as much of an issue, but like that's slightly different from like the story perspective of it, though. You could still have a historically inaccurate but really good story. So I don't know. I just don't really see like, how the story is that bad.
Okay. Yeah. I just think it's kind of bland and basic.
Reading. I don't know. You guys probably don't have chat pulled up because
no, we don't.
Open.
Because
Roman says Roman's argument is that it's not historically accurate, and we're not taking that into consideration. It's less historically accurate. On history, it's not necessarily about.
Yeah. And this is because I am someone who enjoys historical accuracy because I am a history major, but this film wasn't trying to prop itself up as necessarily being historically accurate. So, and I think that they obviously weren't really super historically accurate, considering like looking at the costumes and the makeup of the people who were in there, and then just how they treat P.T. Barnum. Yeah, it's not historically accurate, but that wasn't like necessarily as much of a core of the film. And I think you can judge it based on its historical accuracy. But I'm saying that based on the contents of its story, I don't think that its story is necessarily like super bad or super like maybe kind of bland. But like I don't know. I don't feel like if you're taking a look at its story aspect, I don't feel like it deserves a C tier based on that.
There are multiple. I would like to share one of my favorite moments from almost any podcast we've done so far. Hey, Will, look, it's you.
Hey, it's me. Hey, I'm like, I kind of need this. I really like it. I think it's very cool and like way of life's going to be tough and you're going to mess up because you're human. But, you know, from now on, I'm going to change and try and do better. And yeah, I just really love it. So hit it away, Seth.
You heard it here first. The greatest showman is Will's depression music.
If I had depression, but
Let's be
Guys.
For the record, that's still true.
Is that
Okay, I will say that.
Is that too much? That was for a bit. But I thought it was funny. Yeah, I thought it was
Must
funny.
It's just really funny.
My
People are really
goodness.
I'm gonna stop. Let's listen.
Double your head.
Don't get canceled.
Yeah.
That was good. I think we're going to do another one of those sometime soon with different people. Get a new version.
Yeah. Honestly, just in regards
I
to
think I
that,
saved The Greatest Showman. Okay.
yeah, just in regards to that idea, this is something I thought about. Maybe not quite so much like a variation of that idea where instead of like sharing exactly music, just sharing maybe not like videos, but it's like short snippets of stuff that we really like. Because there's stuff that I always want to like share and show with you guys that I think is cool, but like it's not necessarily like a music thing, but it's sort of like a music. It's not like super like
Should just have
we
a
see,
show,
like,
and tell, a show and tell episode.
yeah, essentially. I think this is cool. I'd introduce you guys to Warhammer.
Okay. Moving on. The Chosen.
I've only watched a couple episodes of this, but I hear it is really good. So I would think 8,
Okay.
just based on what I know and what I have seen so far, A tier at least.
Yeah, I'd say A tier. I've seen the first two.
Zach, do you keep up? A tier?
Yeah.
Okay. I have not kept up with season 4, but it is really good. I would say equal to Sound of Freedom. I don't know. I think I'll just put it there and say it's equal, but it's really because it's longer than Sound of Freedom. It's 4 seasons so far, and they're gonna make more. I think we go right above it. Again, whole episodes on these movies. If you want to listen to them, they're pretty dope. Keep moving. We're at over an hour now, and I do have something else I want to get to at the end. And so we have one more line here. Memento. Zach, have you actually seen Memento?
No, I have not. Still have to see that one.
I made Will see it for an episode.
I think it's definitely Nolan's first film. It's not his best, but it's a good film in and of itself. It can find one. I don't know if it'd be B tier or an A tier. I feel like it could be a really low A tier, but B tier wouldn't be too terrible, I don't think either.
It's definitely going below Tenet because I will fight for that. I will die on that hill.
Yeah,
Tenet is better than Memento.
I think I would agree with that.
Only because Tenet is one of his newest movies, and Memento was one of his first. Memento is great. It explores a different way to tell a story that no other movie has done. Being able to use a unreliable narrator in a different way than just saying, "Oh, this guy lies all the time."
Mm-hmm.
I would say B, just because it's a little old. It's very confusing, not for the average Joe, but it's still pretty good. And I know it's not. I'm not putting it in the Nolan tier because it would go above Tenet, and Zach would not allow that. No, he says. Okay, Zach. Daredevil. I know what you're gonna say.
What was the S tier?
You know what, Zach? Personally, I think
would
it's more
say
of a,
S.
I think it's more of a
Will, have
C
you ever
tier.
seen that?
Honestly, I just
Well, you can leave.
you said you struck first. Okay, I'm just being fair.
I don't know if I might not say top S just because season 2 kind of takes a dip, but maybe behind
Sure.
Prince of Egypt. That's what I would think.
That's fair. Yeah. The Roman says, what I'm figuring out from this list is that we don't review bad movies on this podcast. You are absolutely right. We're gonna get to a few. There will be a few that go into C and D, but you're totally right. We like doing new stuff. We have another guest, I think.
Oh, that's
He
good
should be
timing.
coming in a second.
Unfortunately, boys, this is where I have to make my exit.
Okay.
Oh, you're leaving. Okay. Do you have really quick before you go? Do you have any of these movies that you passionately desire to tier before you leave?
I mean, I think Loki, I'd say A tier, Interstellar, S tier, Kung Fu Panda A tier, Dark Knight S tier. There's my
Take into consideration. All right, we'll take into consideration as you leave us, and Isaac joins us. Let's go! Spencer is here.
Mr. Stars, just in time
all right,
too.
Zach's gone.
because
Welcome,
we're,
Isaac.
Yellow.
Yellow
Uh,
is a color.
Hannah has a good point. She said, "Okay, so Isaac, you probably can't see the chat,
I can't
but
see the chat.
Roman says." What I'm figuring out from this list is that we don't review bad movies on this podcast, and he's absolutely right. So many have been B or above. And then Hannah says we should just go on a rampage of watching bad movies. We actually have somewhat of a plan in place.
I
It
could
might
help
not
you
come
with
to
that.
fruition, but we want to do
I have
something
a
where we
whole-
react to
I have a-
old.
I have. Okay, I'm just gonna say I am the person who like looks up like bad movies on YouTube that are free because I can and just watch them and somewhat enjoys them. I actually have like a playlist of like some of those.
All right. I mean, you know what?
Our idea.
Go for it. What's the idea?
Our idea is to do when I film podcast movie nights where we react as co-hosts to certain movies and then use those as episodes or special episodes. We wouldn't be able to show the movies because we can't put that out for free. But some of them that are on our list that we would watch and make fun of as we watch them on our list right now: Madam Web, Bible Man, not to make fun of it, but just to show how cheesy it is and how funny it is. Spy Kids, Morbius, Fast and Furious, Fan Four Stick, which is the new Fantastic Four, Green Lantern, Batman and Robin, Left Behind. All of those are on the list and more. That might be coming to you soon.
I'd love Spy Kids. That's a cult classic.
It is
really bad.
Ironically really good.
Yes. Okay, back to the tier list. I want to get to the second thing that we have because I'm actually more excited for that. I just promised you guys tier list. Isaac, you actually made it perfect in perfect time for the Star Wars movies. Let's just throw all of those. Excellent. He is the one who did our Star Wars episodes. He is our Star Wars guy because Will is not. Next up on our to rank list is I use Revenge of the Sith, but in reality it's the prequels. For each trilogy I did something. Unless you would rather me, actually, give me a second and I will get posters for each of them. And then we can rank each movie just because we have some time.
Okay,
What? No, it's like already 14.
Yeah, it's already 4. What's the ranking for the tier list? How are we doing this?
There's Nolan, which is
we have Nolan.
its own separate category. S tier, A, B, C, D, whatever. And I think the bottom one is, I can't read that. What is that? Madam Web tier.
Madam Web.
So that's the absolute bottom.
Okay.
Okay, you are right though. We are running out of time. As Roman says, separate them.
Well,
we'll do them quick.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
So, rapid fire.
You get it set up. You get it set up. We can just give our thoughts. I'll go first on this. The prequel. Pretty much the prequel trilogy. Me. Phantom Menace. Probably B tier. Second one. Probably B tier. Revenge of the Sith. A tier. That's just my opinion.
Okay. I'm trying to see what we've got in all the different tiers.
Yeah, I know it's probably really small for you. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Is that Maverick?
I'm scrolling.
Top Gun Maverick.
Is it Maverick in S tier? Okay.
Yes. Oops.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I would probably go so far as to say Phantom Menace. It's borderline C to B for me, just because it introduced us to the lovely Jar Jar Binks, and that's something I could do without.
I know, you have made that very clear.
And then I'd probably go Attack of the Clones B, and in my opinion, I would say Revenge of the Sith. It's like that A-S. You said A, so we can definitely throw it in A. That fits for me. That would work.
Okay. All right. Here are all the rest of the Star Wars. New Hope. Revenge.
Yeah, you can set those ones up. And then if we're going for if we want to go for the sequel trilogy, honestly, I don't have as much hate towards those ones. Pretty much for me, they're all just like kind of average. So maybe B or A. Like, first one was fine. Second, I actually, for me personally, I might put Last Jedi in A tier, mostly because I didn't have that much hate towards it, and because because at my school, all the speculation we had around it was totally flipped. But I don't really care. Probably just put most in B. Like, I've never hated them enough to really do that.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
I know nobody else is gonna do that, so you guys can put it wherever you want. But that's just me. Well, so, again, like it's just, every time like I watch it, I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Well played. Yeah. That's pretty much my entire thought.
There's a reason you didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming because nobody expected it to be there. This is so out of left field, almost all of it.
Jedi's A. I'm sorry.
Okay, A might be a little generous in some parts, but when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is fine.
You know, I'm the minority here. If you guys want to put it in A, I can protest all I want.
I'm not in the minority. I have a very low view of the sequels. So
okay. So, wow.
Roman.
I'm just looking at the chat, and Roman is absolutely.
Roman puts Rise of Skywalker as Madam Web level.
I mean,
See,
for
it's
me,
not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. See, I don't think it's that bad. I think Rise of Skywalker is like, for me, like I make it cooler in my head, and that's how I enjoy it. I don't know. I don't think it's that. I think it's definitely like a C tier. All
I'm
right,
gonna argue.
Wow.
Rise
or,
of,
not, or
I'm
B
gonna,
tier. I think it's definitely like a B tier.
I'm gonna
or C
argue-
tier, but
you think it's
I'm
a
gonna
B
argue Rise
tier? You think the movie entirely about happy coincidences should result in B tier?
yeah, but they have like cool lightsabers and go zoom zoom. I don't know. Mostly just because like the final scene. I don't know. It just doesn't bug me as much. I know it does for other people, but it just doesn't bug me as much.
I don't think it deserves Madam Web because Madam Web is kind of reserved for bad CGI, bad story. It has a bad story, but let's not ignore the really great CGI that makes Star Wars look. Like if you watched Rise of Skywalker without the audio, it would be amazing because you wouldn't know what's going on and it would look really good. But that's not enough to bring it out of the depths that is how bad the story is.
Yeah, it's bad. So I would say Rise of Skywalker can go sit alone in D tier for sure.
Yep.
That's without a doubt. Last Jedi. Sorry, go ahead.
Backwards.
I don't care.
I was gonna start. Let's start back at 1. What did we say for 1?
I said
B or
1
C?
goes B.
B. Yeah, I mean it's still again. Everyone really hated Phantom Menace, but it's really good compared to the sequels. Not really good.
Yeah.
It's better than the sequels. I would watch it over the sequels.
Yep.
Okay.
Attack of the Clones can, in my opinion, it's better than Phantom Menace, but I'd probably still put it in B tier,
Yep,
just for the love storyline that happens with that.
I mean,
I would put it probably here. I know
who doesn't
maybe
like sand.
Anakin apparently.
Okay. And
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith is A to S for me, but
Definitely A.
I really like Revenge.
It's good.
Let's put it high A, probably above Avatar. I'd watch it.
I think I'd watch it over Avatar.
I don't know, Zach or Isaac. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, we're trying to also order them
Gotcha.
in order. Like the left ones are better on the tier list than the other ones.
Okay, I got
A New Hope, AES,
Yeah, it's A. I think
better or worse than Revenge?
in my opinion, I think it's just slightly below Revenge.
Because of visuals, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't hold the same nostalgia for me that it does a lot of like the original fans of the series. Like I still love it, but I still would put it underneath Revenge of the Sith just barely.
Right. Empire.
S.
IAS.
I put it in S.
I need to rewatch. No, you're right. I'm not arguing against S. I just haven't seen it in a while. I know what's all in it, but it's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good.
Yeah.
Will, any thoughts?
Yeah,
You've been
but,
a little
yeah.
silent.
It's-
Keep moving.
I would probably put an A, but like, I think S is. I
Return.
I think
I'd
S
say
is better than
A.
S.
Ooh, okay.
I think I prefer Return of the Jedi over The Empire Strikes Back personally, partly because
Well,
I just like conclusions to stories.
Sure.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Do you also like big explosions?
Yes, but like not as much as a good story. So-
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm fine with putting it in S tier.
And also,
Okay,
like it
I
has.
think
it
I'm
has,
gonna-
like the second Death Star explodes, so it's.
I think I'm going to keep it below Empire, even though Will has his opinion, because Empire has the greatest twists of all cinema history.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the issue is the internet has spoiled it for everybody. So now
True. Yes. No one can actually watch
That
it.
is kind
for
of
the first
true,
time.
though. Although I think I've watched all of them almost in I watched the original trilogy before like I got the internet, so I didn't have that spoiled to me. But even then, like, it wasn't that much for me personally. When I watched it and I was like younger, it didn't feel like as big of a twist. I think, although maybe it did get spoiled to me. I can't quite remember. It's been a long time since I first watched them.
Yeah. Okay. Force Awakens, the best of the sequels. Zach or Isaac, and Zach's been here for an hour. I get all you, Zach.
I'm gonna go B. To be honest, I'd say high B. I don't think it's A by any means.
Better or worse than Attack?
Worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
Okay. Below, I would put it here.
Yeah, I think it's that's a good spot to put it because it's better than Spirited.
Would we still watch Force Awakens over? I said that I would watch Phantom Menace over Force Awakens.
I would I mean, for me personally, I don't think it would matter too much between them. I can enjoy both of them and be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate Episode 7 as much as I hated the rest of them because it was the start of the storyline, and they hadn't messed with a bunch of stuff yet. It's equal footing in my opinion.
That's fair. Last Jedi.
I don't care.
Yeah, it sounded like you cared earlier.
I only say that because that was the last Star Wars film besides Rogue One that I watched in theaters, and that there was so much hype around it at school and talking about it. That I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And because I didn't have as much knowledge, I'll put it this way: I've learned to hate this sequel trilogy over time because I didn't hate them going into it, and I've only and so it's this weird thing where because I've watched so many people go through lengthy videos and deconstruct everything about the film and explain why it's bad. Now whenever I watch it, like, okay, well, I know why that's bad, but when I watched it, it didn't feel bad. I don't know. It's a weird scenario. So I don't know. It doesn't really faze me wherever you put it.
You were taught well if you were taught to hate the trilogy.
All right.
Yeah,
I think we're satisfied with that for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Captain America. Kind of the whole trilogy. So that's First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War.
Definite A tier.
I think it's lower A, just because I feel like there's a lot better Marvel. Okay. I forgot Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is really good.
Yeah.
I have all of the really above average Marvel movies right here. I don't know where it would rank in here. I feel like it'd be above Guardians.
Yeah. Maybe below Iron Man, but they're kind of like on even footing.
Isaac, do you keep up with Marvel anymore? Or at all?
I don't really care. You can throw it where you want. I thought it was okay. I liked the idea behind him.
Yeah. We have all our Marvel movies right here. If they're not Daredevil, it's up here.
Okay.
Speaking of Marvel, Loki. We talked about Loki a lot. If you haven't finished season 2, this won't make any sense, but it is high A.
Would you put it above Jesus?
Shut up.
I agree with high A, 100%.
That's not a fair question. Wait, you did see it.
Yeah.
You were the one who was messaging me about it. You were messaging me about it when it was coming out, and like, you need to watch it. I was like, fine.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You're right. I'm not going to put it above Jesus, but also Passion of the Christ is way up here, and I put Puss in Boots over Passion of the Christ.
Okay. Okay.
Have you seen Puss in Boots 2?
The one with the wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got through like half of it and then decided it was a weird movie and stopped.
Ooh.
All right. Well, you're entitled to your own wrong opinions.
T-shirt
Okay.
right there.
God's Not Dead trilogy, because we were talking about bad Christian movies.
I've only watched the first two. And again, I've learned to hate it over time, apparently, because it's so. I feel like lower B for me, but that's just because
B.
that's just my thing. If it's C, I guess, but it doesn't. They're not like for me. They've never been the
C.
worst of the worst.
I would say C, but because it's about God, it's B.
Gets bumped up.
Is that fair?
I haven't seen him in so long. I don't remember very
Okay.
much about him.
Well, you need to catch up so that you can watch God's Not Dead, We the People. About
There's
how our
how
religious
many of them?
liberties are in
There's
danger.
a fourth one coming out. Apparently.
I think there's a fourth one. There's a spin-off one that was The Light in the Darkness. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
Elf. Josh would be here to argue that
F.
it's S. No,
I think it's an A tier. I think it's
not
it's not
S.
it's not a deep.
Elf
It's not
is not an S tier movie.
It's not like a super deep film.
It's a classic. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but it's not like a super
Storytelling's
deep
there.
one.
Will, you love story. You just said you love the story. It's got great storytelling.
Yeah,
It's got a great message.
Yeah, but it's not like the greatest though. I feel like I don't think it's S tier. I think it's a solid A tier.
What Christmas movie would you put over it?
Home Alone.
Elf is better.
I like Home Alone and Home Alone 2. I don't know. That or what's that other good Christmas film?
Elf is better.
What's that film called? What's the classic? I'm dreaming White Christmas. White Christmas. I would put that on because that's what my family classic. That's what my family watches. And
I've never seen White Christmas.
It's pretty good. Anyways, I think it's just an A tier. A tier.
Right
I
now,
can settle for a high A, but I think it deserves S.
can we argue low B or not low B, low A? I put a poll. I made the poll on YouTube, and right now it's 25% S tier, 75% B tier.
Okay, how many people are on that poll though?
4 people.
4.
So
Middle of A tier. That's the lowest I'm willing to go.
Middle of A.
Middle of A tier.
put it below Free Guy, I think.
Of course, I don't have control over the actual ranking system, so there's not much I can do if it gets moved.
I'm gonna try and make this blank canvas available for everyone, so you can rank them on your own. Oh, we should have done a I haven't seen. Maybe for the public one, I'll make it an I haven't seen because it's bold to assume everyone's seen these, so you can't just rank them because of that. Okay, middle of A. It's compromise. It's I didn't think Elf would be so divided, but it is, and partly because of me.
Good job.
Anyways, poll is done. Okay. Nativity. I think Will saw this one.
In my opinion, I think that's I think that's probably, I would probably put that below the Revenge of the Sith, because that's like it's a really good film, and I think well, maybe not like the best film,
Savior
but it's
is worse than the Revenge of the Sith. No, I
It's mostly
understand.
just because,
it's
like,
hard.
yeah, I think it does a good job at what it's trying to do, which is try to be more accurate to like the biblical source, and it does that. So yeah, it's an A tier.
It's a decent movie. It's definitely A. It's nothing crazy. It's really good compared to the B ones. It's a classic Christmas movie at my parents' house. But yeah, I mean, I'll settle for A. I don't know exactly where in the placement. I'm not going to fight over where. If you say below Revenge of the Sith, it'll be fine. Roman is offended because he thinks C tier should be average, and I kind of agree, but I also think that we are too generous, and that's okay. So
I don't care, Roman. I'm sorry.
I don't care. Well, okay. Here's standard for C. I think Les Mis goes in C. I was like looking at these and like, which one would be C? I think Les Mis would be C because it just fails at no, Hannah. I just put something in C. There's so much that the movie got wrong, as opposed to the different variations, whether it's the book, the audio drama, the multiple theater shows. I think the story is what's good about it, but basically the entire production of that movie brings it down such a notch. If you listen to literally any of the Broadway singers sing something like Stars, way better than anything Russell Crowe could have done. So that's our standard for C tier. Yes,
Okay.
the theater musical is really good. Isaac, How to Train Your
Top
Dragon.
of S tier. Top of S tier. There's no question in my mind.
I think it's more like a middle S tier. It's more a middle S tier. It's
Middle S.
really good, but I think there's some better ones. But it is really good. The trilogy as a whole.
Remember, arguing over S tier is really dumb because it's already S tier. I understand you love it, Isaac.
It has
It's in
the
S tier.
greatest musical intro ever created.
You right. I think it deserves S, but I'm gonna watch Daredevil over How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, you can waste your
I know
time.
it's really
then.
good. You're right. I will waste my time. It's S tier. What do you want? It's the best of the best.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's S tier. I'm just saying, I'd watch it over literally anything else.
Yes. Okay. Well, here's my my version of How to Train Your Dragon. I think Interstellar is top of S. Not top, but like up here.
It's not
I don't
agree
know
with
that many people would agree with me because for some reason Interstellar is slept on. I love Interstellar, but it's a lot of people kind of disregard it.
I love Interstellar too, but the main complaint that I have for it is it just feels like it drags on, and that's mostly because of the context in which I watched it was on an airplane, and that we were about to get off, so it felt like a really really long film, and it is a really really long film. But other than that, I think it is definitely an S tier.
I mean, my one thought.
I think Arcane's better though, in my opinion.
My one thing with Interstellar is I still don't understand fully the whole fourth dimension stuff going on with it. It's still a really good movie. I like it a lot. I'd put it S tier as well. There's just parts of it that I don't fully understand.
Yeah.
I think I'll settle. I'll put it right below Maverick, above Andor. For Isaac's sake, I'll put it below Andor.
I honestly, I don't really care. You can put it above Andor if you want.
Okay. We'll leave it.
All right.
Infinity War and Endgame.
You see, here's the difficulty thing. I think Endgame is one of my favorite films of all time, but that's mostly due to the fact that, like, one, it's a culmination, and two, the battle scene, like the ending, how it ends. Because it is another really long film, and it doesn't feel like it drags on for too long. But I think Infinity War is like a better, concise film in and of itself. But I think I'd probably put Endgame ahead of them. But they're both S tier for sure. I would just put Endgame maybe ahead of it, just because of how it ends. In my opinion, it's the end of the MCU.
You like your endings.
I do like an ending. I am an endings guy. All's well that ends well.
What if we do Endgame, Revenge, Infinity War? That's I am satisfied with that.
I think they're an A tier, but I'm not the Marvel guy. I'm the Star Wars guy. So do what you will. I just want to point out that S tier is now almost as long as A tier, and if it's supposed to be the best movies ever, we're really generous with that. That's all I'm saying.
We would probably.
I know. Okay. Dune. How many of you guys have actually seen Dune?
I was started watching it at your house once, but then we did.
It's 1 and 2. Oh yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Never
Right.
watched it.
It's all you, Seth.
All you,
Okay.
Seth.
And the audience.
So, in case the audience wants to pipe in now, I will be taking considerations for Dune in the next 30 seconds, but it is S tier for me because of the second movie. It might be low S just because the first movie is a little bit boring, but when you pretend that both movies are one long 5-hour movie, it's S tier. So we'll keep it at low because it's not better than Infinity War. But Infinity
for
War
the sake of
is better for
keeping
different
S
reasons.
tier, for the sake of keeping S tier, not holy but
Special.
important, I would say you could drop down a couple of those movies to high A. But it's up. I'm
You're
not.
thinking at the end of S.
Yeah, but it's not up to me. So we'd have to shift the entire board.
It's
And
also very. I know it would be also be very arbitrary at this point. Okay, we'll keep doing there. Panda, Kung Fu Panda.
I don't think it's an S tier, but I know that some people would. I think it's more of just an A tier. It's a really good film. I think they're just really solid.
Isaac, give your thought, and then I have my thought.
I think it's B because while the first movie is great, after that it kind of just feels like the exact same rinse and repeat solutions and problems.
You are correct. However, Zach will kill me if he sees Kung Fu Panda in B. The fourth movie really brought it down a little bit. So I would say high B, but I would also say low A just because the villains are some of the best animated villains in animation history. And DreamWorks just nails it with most of that stuff. They're great kids movies. They're great adult movies, honestly. They make really good points, and I think it's low A. Might have been high A or S if the fourth movie never came out.
Okay.
Not that great. Anyways, we're almost done. Lord of the Rings.
Top of the S. Nothing. No competition. Just. I'm sorry, Arcane. It's better than Arcane. It's better than Arcane.
You're right. They going Nolan. Should Lord of the Rings be in Nolan?
Okay.
That would confuse some people.
Counterfactual idea. What if Christopher Nolan directed the Lord of the Rings trilogy? I have no idea what would happen, but that's just an interesting thought I just had right now.
Don't think he did. I'm pretty sure that was Peter Jackson, but
I know he didn't. I'm saying what if? That's like one of those things.
It would have been a lot more weird with how it was told. Yeah.
I bet it would, especially like the storytelling and stuff.
Yeah, the timeline would have been all out of whack, but it's right
they
there.
realized that the ring is actually like a time travel thing, and they're actually in a loop trying to get to Mordor.
I think he would actually respect the origins of it or the book.
Roman's saying we throw it with Nolan.
It is it. Okay, I have to agree. Nolan is not just for Nolan movies. I think Lord of the Rings deserves Nolan tier because there's nothing like it. There will never be anything like it. Not saying that The Prestige and Inception are better than The Lord of the Rings, just that Lord of the Rings is not a Nolan movie, and therefore I can't put it at the top of the Nolan chart. That's what I got. I'm not adding another tier for Lord of the Rings.
It would literally just be Lord of the Rings.
The Dark Knight. I know. The Dark Knight trilogy.
I have not been able to watch this yet.
Trilogy? Trilogy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dark Knight itself.
Trilogy. Yes. Very good. I see what you're saying. It could be high S. Whoops. But I think it's still Nolan. I would watch The Dark Knight over Arcane every single day.
I can agree with that.
Not just The Dark Knight, but like the whole trilogy. They're very fun movies, even if they're over-explained, which we talked about in the Batman episode that you should listen to if you haven't gotten to yet. Just saying. Two more, which I forgot to add at the beginning because I forgot about this bonus episode that we did in the summer. Barbie and Oppenheimer, or maybe we should just have Bob.
I think they're both. Oppenheimer, I think is. I've watched Barbie again, and I think that Barbie is like a one-shot film where like you really only enjoy it like watching it the first time. I think because it's funny. And then after that, it's just kind of I don't think it's worthwhile to rewatch it. So I think it's a C. Maybe yeah.
So you
maybe even a D, but I think it's C.
D.
C.
I think that's harsh. I have not watched Barbie since it first came out, and I did enjoy it in theaters.
I think it's a C. It's a solid C. I'd say it's fine.
It was one of the highest grossing movies.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's good.
Why can I not do this? It's not Les Mis. It's not worse than God's Not Dead. Isaac, I'm assuming you haven't seen it because you haven't piped up.
Nope.
I wouldn't watch a girls movie.
No, no. That's not my reasoning,
Okay.
but
Okay.
see you, Hannah.
I'm gonna put it above God's Not Dead just because I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I might reevaluate that if I ever rewatch it.
I
Last
think if
movie,
you rewatch it, you
Oppenheimer.
I think
I
it's
should.
better than Barbie.
No idea.
Oppenheimer's better than Barbie for sure. I still think it's B. I have said this and I'll say it again. Where did it go? Oh, it's in Madam Web. No, it's not in Madam Web. I would watch Oppenheimer out of all of Nolan's movies the last. I know a lot of people love it. It's a really great movie, but it's honestly one of my least favorite. It was a lot of talking. And
What are you, cinema sins now? Exposition.
Yes. Exposition. Nolan's position. Above Barbie, just because of scope and ability to be an awe-inspiring movie. I would say I would watch Last of Us over Oppenheimer. I don't know. Will, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah,
You saw it with me.
that sounds about right. I think.
Okay.
I have no care.
Okay.
Yay, we did it! Good job, team.
Good job, team.
It
This is
took
the
almost 2 hours.
final. It only almost took 2 hours. I can't English. That is our final tier list. Again, these aren't movies of all time. These are just the movies we've covered in episode 1 till now. So we might do another one in the future. I'll screenshot this, put it in the Discord in case anyone wants to refer to it, and then I'll try and get the website with the same movies on there so that you can rank your own. Now, this is the deciding point. We have been streaming for an hour and 46 minutes. Do we want to do, maybe it might take a half hour, but it'll go faster than the tier list. I have the exact same list, but a bracket so that we can decide which movie is better than the other. Thoughts? Yay or nay?
I think we can do it. Just do it.
Actually, I'm going to make a poll for the 4 people who are here. Would you rather watch another half hour? Okay, never mind. No poll. No one gets any say.
This isn't a democracy.
We're just going to go through it, and this is finding the best movie ever.
So this isn't based off of our tier
I
list.
want to include everybody.
This isn't based off of our tier list. This is our opinions on it then?
This is by the reason this is going to be so convoluted is because comparing Kung Fu Panda to The Dark Knight is ridiculous. And yet we're going to do it
Dark Knight.
for funsies. The Dark Knight. Okay.
Dark Knight.
Okay. We're going to go for
There's 3 of us
yes.
here. We can argue this all we want and have the majority for it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Arcane all the way, right?
Arcane.
You said you haven't. Wait, did you see Avatar? No,
Yeah,
that was
I've
exactly
seen
I've seen
Avatar
Avatar.
I haven't seen Arcane. Avatar.
Arcane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fine.
Yeah, Arcane. Sorry, Zach,
Lord of the Rings.
you need to
Lord of
watch
the Rings.
Arcane if you're
Lord of the
gonna
Rings.
say something as.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you're right. This first one is going to be
Passion.
a lot easier
Ooh,
because
this is.
they're.
Mm,
I know.
see, Passion of the Christ is
I
more
know.
like, I feel like Passion of the Christ is a seasonal film. It works best in a certain season.
Yes, watching it Holy Week, amazing. Prestige, any of the other 51 weeks of the year, I'm taking that. And Isaac is gonna.
I think I'm gonna go with Prestige.
I won't say okay. All right.
I know it's Jesus, and we're putting one movie
Hey,
above Jesus. But
All I'm saying is I chose Jesus.
It's okay. I know some Catholics. They can pray for us.
I will also put this bracket available for anyone to take and see what your movie is. But we're gonna try and do consensus because there's 3 of us, and that means
Maverick.
that
Haven't
means
watched
that
it,
there's a
doesn't
majority. I would say Maverick. I think The Last of Us has too many flaws, and I can't stand some of the episodes. So Maverick. Well,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Okay.
I've only watched Puss in Boots, so I'm kind of biased here.
I know, and you hate hippies for some reason.
I don't see much of worth in hippie culture. Essentially.
point of the
movie, Will.
Well, okay, the point of the movie is like the hippies are like need to be saved because we all need to be saved, but maybe especially the hippies.
Yes. One is greater or worse in the kingdom of God.
I don't know. This is a tough
I'm
one.
gonna go Puss in Boots.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Puss in Boots because that's what I've
I vote
seen.
Puss in Boots.
Okay.
That's what I go for.
Infinity War.
I have no opinion.
Infinity War.
Okay.
Memento's good, but not that. Daredevil, just because when you watch through Daredevil, you get so many different spiritual conversations. It's the closest you're going to get to a Christian superhero who's dealing with the ability that's God's given him to do something good, but he needs to do bad things to do the good things. I think it's such a great struggle. Ant-Man is charming, Daredevil all the way. And because you guys didn't pipe up, it sounds like you don't have that.
No.
Yeah,
I will give this one to
Elf.
Elf. I will give this one to Elf just because Jojo Rabbit is, again, entertaining. Not out of the ballpark. Elf would be so much fun.
Ooh. Honestly, like, I think I might, because I don't hate God's Not Dead that much, I think I might just choose God's Not Dead, because, like, Spirited was fine, but I don't really think I'd care to rewatch it.
I haven't
Like,
seen Spirited, but I'd say God's Not Dead.
I think because we gave up on Passion, we're going to give it to God's Not Dead.
That's an equal.
Ooh, this is an interesting matchup.
Ooh. I haven't seen The Quiet Place, so this is difficult for me, because I feel like I would enjoy The Quiet Place, but which one would I rather watch? I'd probably take. See, okay, here's the difficulty: is like I'm not a horror guy, and Quiet Place isn't super horror, but it's got more of that element. But The Sound of Freedom is also something I don't know if I'd want to watch per se because of what it's about. So this is.
You're very right. Isaac, thoughts?
I've never seen either of them.
I don't know which side I'd lean on because that's the point of this bracket is like it's not a fair comparison, but I'm going to pick Quiet Place over Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
Sound of Freedom has an amazing story and is a really well produced movie for what it's trying to be. I will take Quiet Place for the tension, freedom, but I'm going Quiet Place.
Yeah.
No objections. Moving on. I go Inception.
I kind of lean more Iron Man, honestly.
I've never seen Inception. So I'm going to go Iron Man.
Well, because it's a democracy.
Majority rules.
Iron Man is really cool. All right.
Ooh. Loki.
I haven't seen either.
You haven't seen?
I think I might take Dune because I'd want to watch that.
No, you can't say that.
I would probably prefer. I think I think I would take Dune if I had to choose though, because I think that
The
interests me
democracy,
more.
I guess.
You do.
No,
You do whatever.
I
you
didn't say
think.
what I voted for. I have raved about Dune and how good it is in recent days because of Part 2 coming out. But honestly, as I think back to Loki, it's really good. I'm gonna pick Loki, and that as a democracy, it's a very obvious democracy that I never surpass and become a dictator of ever. Loki.
This is a really hard decision. I mean, Quantumania's got so much going for it. It's just, I just really can't think of my mind.
Empire.
Yeah, probably Empire.
Yeah,
Empire.
I give it to Empire. Yep.
All right.
to the top.
With that unanimous decision, unfortunately, my time for this lovely live stream has run out. I'm sorry, guys.
No.
Unfortunately, there's other things I do have to attend to. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you guys. Hopefully
What a
you
nerd
don't.
having a life.
Hopefully you don't ruin this
07.
any more than it already has been ruined. But
You'll just have to look up the live stream and watch.
It's just entertainment. I'm sorry.
I know. I
Have
got
a
you.
good day, Isaac.
Yep. Have a good one,
Thank you
guys.
for coming. See ya.
Yep. Bye.
Okay. Pig.
That hurt. Oh, hey,
That's what my mother would say.
pig.
I'm gonna. Yeah, she says that whenever like my sister's like
Uncivilized.
uncivilized.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Arcane because I have watched it. But I feel like if I watched the Batman trilogy, I might pick that. But it doesn't really matter to me. I feel like you can probably go with the Batman.
Yeah, I would. This is why it's entertainment. It's fun.
The struggle and the drama.
Arcane is really great. Batman is really great. I'm gonna watch Arcane a lot more times than I'm gonna watch the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah. By the way, how'd that one conversation go with
Arcane wins on that one.
for the thing I missed?
What?
The episode.
Eh?
The discussion on like
For Arcane? Yeah, Arcane episode coming soon. We talked about a lot of good stuff. I'm editing it now. That'll be up in a few weeks.
okay. Lord of the Rings.
Definitely Lord of the Rings. Again,
I think Lord of the Rings is probably
this
just gonna
becomes
be-
more obvious as we keep going.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick
I
Harry
think Lord of the Rings
Potter,
might end up
but
at
I am
the
biased.
championship.
I'm gonna pick Harry Potter because I am kind of
Really?
biased. Because I kind of like the last like 2 films of Harry Potter. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but I'd pick Top Gun Maverick because of the tension. Harry Potter is good and it grew up, especially it got darker, it got older with the last few. I think out of my understanding mind
To
and
be fair, I
being
haven't
objective.
watched Maverick, so you could probably just pick Maverick. 'Cause
Sure.
I haven't watched it, so
No, I'm gonna pick Harry Potter because of how much it means to everybody. And it's a lot longer, it's got more content. Even if it's more frustrating with the book adaptations, there's just so much more movie than Top Gun Maverick, and the storylines that they cover over all those movies, is better than Maverick.
that's actually kind of a good one.
This one.
I think I might actually take Puss in Boots because it's more succinct, and like for Infinity War,
Really?
for Infinity War, you really like it, Infinity War is a good single film, but it's a single film that has to have an end game. Like, I think I might lean towards Puss in Boots because of that.
You're right. Yeah. I think you're right. Infinity War is really great. Puss in Boots was really great, but Puss in Boots. You like the word succinct, but you're right. You're on Puss in Boots. Daredevil has to be. Has to be.
Yeah, I don't care. Nothing I say is going to change
Do
your mind,
you?
anyways.
Okay. I
don't
pick
think
Daredevil.
Elf is. I haven't watched Daredevil, but from how much you like it, I think it would probably be better than Elf.
Yes. It is. Elf can be great. Quiet Place, just because the last God's Not Dead versus Spirited wasn't fair, is like 2 not so great movies, is average. And Quiet Place compared to God's Not Dead all the way. I love how people are typing P&B and I just see peanut butter.
I only
That's
know
all
Iron Man, so
that's
I'm
all
gonna
I
go-
see.
Oh, in the chat.
I'm gonna do Iron Man for nostalgia. Loki is, again, it gets harder. That's the point of I like this bracket style. It really makes you decide which one you would pick. I think more of what you would. I mean, that's what we've been answering. Would you watch it over this other one? I would watch Iron Man 1,
I'd
2, and
probably
3
watch
over
Iron Man.
Loki season 1 and 2. Isaac might hit me for that, but I can take it.
Yeah, and I'm also just more
Iron
biased
Man.
against films. So, I think I might actually. You see, when it comes to Endgame, I generally don't have enough time and interest to watch through all of it. But
Endgame?
if I'm going to watch it, I think I would probably enjoy. For this one, I think I would, if I wanted to just watch a full film, I'd watch Empire Strikes Back. But I would probably personally more want to watch parts of Endgame that I enjoy.
Mm.
So I think I would probably pick Endgame for that.
I'm gonna go with Empire because what you said. Oh, there is a debate in the chat with the few viewers who are watching. We have two. Empire, one Endgame movie. Even though yes, it's a trilogy, Endgame is the third act of everything. The whole 10 years of the MCU, phase 1 through 3, the final act of Infinity War, the amount of work that went into Star Wars, the original trilogy, and how much better it got with the second movie after A New Hope. I hate doing this to Endgame, but Empire goes forward. That is, This is tough for me because
it's tough, but it's
Arcane-
not that tough.
you say that. I will choose to watch Arcane over watching Lord of the Rings because of how much time it takes.
That's fair,
Arcane,
but Lord of the Rings is still better.
so I'm more prone to watching Arcane. I'm saying I have a full day to watch movies. Do I watch Lord of the Rings or Arcane? I'm going to watch Arcane. But Lord, why I can't disrespect Lord of the Rings like that. You're right, Roman.
You see, the thing is, though, like, how much time together is Arcane? Like, how many hours is it? Because Lord of the Rings is long, but
Arcane is 6 hours for the whole season.
Okay. I would probably still
I
think
think-
Lord of the Rings because in my experience, like if I wanted to, I could probably move through some of the parts of Lord of the Rings, and I don't have to watch the extended edition if I didn't want to. Although you could, because that's the true edition. I'd still just probably
Right. I'm assuming it's the extended edition.
yeah. That is tough because like what would you rather watch, and it's really going to depend on the mood. I just like Lord of the Rings better because it has more of a deeper story and meaning than Arcane does. Arcane has really, really great characters and drama and stuff like that. But I think Lord of the Rings just strikes something deeper in me. And that's what I like about it. It has more, for lack of a better term, like more depth, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Lord of the Rings.
I would argue. Yeah, they're talking in chat. I would argue that Arcane has more depth. But Lord of the Rings is such a I want to say cult classic, but more like I think cult classic means culture classic. It's so ingrained in the culture. It's been out for years, decades, and Arcane is very recent. Not a lot of people have heard it or seen it. I think Lord of the Rings takes that one. But it's going all the way. I know it. I'm personally going to pick Puss in Boots over Harry Potter. But again, I gave Harry Potter the edge over Top Gun because it's. I'm giving, yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards that too. I think also because of the fact that
how close.
I'm just gonna say I think Puss in Boots is just more enjoy. If I wanted to like watch like any of the Harry Potter films versus Puss in Boots, I think I'd probably pick Puss in Boots because it's just more enjoyable and fun. Even
And
compared to
Harry Potter has, if you're a book nerd who's read Harry Potter, you're gonna not enjoy it as much. So on top of that, and because Puss in Boots is close to flawless, we go Puss in Boots.
Ooh.
I still go Daredevil.
See, this means nothing for me because I haven't watched either of them, but I know for you this is a little interesting. But you're gonna still go with Daredevil?
Okay, so if you haven't watched either of them, then I will make the decision. Daredevil again has so many Christian themes in it. It's so worth it. Quiet Place. We're getting to the point. All of them are good. It's hard to make a decision. That's the point. Daredevil all the way. Hashtag Daredevil all the way. This is the epitome of Star Wars versus the epitome of Marvel. Is how I see this matchup.
Honestly, I'd probably pick Iron Man because, well,
oh, I forgot that I made the no. 1 sec. I forgot I made this bracket as the difference between
the trilogies though.
Before I split up the trilogies. So this is actually the original trilogy versus the Iron Man trilogy.
If it's okay, then I'd have to go with Star Wars.
I'm gonna have to go Star Wars because it was a trilogy. It's the whole original trilogy over the Iron Man trilogy. It's not just Empire. Empire could have even beat Iron Man as is, but we're gonna go Empire and the original trilogy. All right, this is
these are this is okay.
quarterfinals, I believe.
Yeah, honestly, okay. So Lord of the Rings is going to win, but I would say that these are the two perfect type of differentiation between mood films. If you want a film that's like not super long, it's enjoyable and it's fun, but it's still got some heart, you'd pick Puss in Boots. If you wanted to like actually like have like go on the full epic experience, you'd pick Lord of the Rings, and you had time. But I'm going to pick Lord of the Rings, obviously.
So Lord of the Rings for again cult classic. Roman's right. Lord of the Rings sweep.
Ooh. This is I'm gonna pick Star Wars because although I'm biased because I haven't watched Daredevil, so this is gonna really be on you. It's really just what you think.
I've been pushing for Daredevil all the way. Hashtag Daredevil for life. It's not better than Star Wars. He's met his match. The 3 seasons of Daredevil. Star Wars is taking it down. Okay, semifinals. Well, okay, sorry. This is the quarterfinals because then we have to do the other side of the bracket, which then leads to the semifinals.
Probably Lord of the Rings still.
What do you think?
I'm because I'll put it like this. Like the final. If you compare both final films and like the when they face the bad guy, like not really, but like in both of them, where like Aragorn's and like his troops are fighting the orcs and Frodo's trying to destroy the ring. Compare that to like the final battle in Return of the Jedi, and for me, I feel more invested in the final fight in Lord of the Rings rather than I do in Return of the Jedi. So Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi though it's more one-on-one and more personal, whereas Lord of the Rings feels more epic. It is an epic. It is English mythology is what Tolkien originally meant for it, and so as an epic, I think it tops Empire. Even though they both have wars, they both have battles, but I think Lord of the Rings is. I knew Lord of the Rings was going to go all the way. It's hard, it's kind of cheating to have it in here.
Honestly, even though I haven't watched Andor,
that is a very hot take.
Even though I haven't watched Andor, I might just pick Andor. But I don't know.
I don't think you can say that. I would pick Interstellar
like
over Andor because of they're both spectacle. They're both really good. What do we do?
I don't really care too much. I'm
going to give this one because Interstellar tends to get forgotten and most people really actually don't like it. I think we give it to Andor. Look,
Revenge of the Sith, honestly, I would probably again it's a seasonal thing. I would probably watch I do actually watch Revenge of the Sith like more often than I'd ever watch the Nativity because like Nativity like is a seasonal thing more. Revenge of the Sith, I just enjoy to watch.
This isn't Revenge of the Sith. This is the original trilogy, remember?
Oh.
Sorry, not the original. The prequel. The prequels.
Yeah,
yes, you're right. Nativity is seasonal. Nativity is seasonal. Star Wars, any time of the year.
Greatest Showman. I just love them. I just not quite the message, but like I love the message that I can get from it. Maybe not the message that it's saying, but the message that I can get from it, and I just love it.
Have you watched The Chosen?
I've watched.
The Chosen gets you crying at almost every episode.
I've watched 2 episodes of it.
Okay.
So I know I'm biased
because
but at the same
I know
time,
you're biased.
I don't care.
Okay, let me explain to you why The Chosen should win. The Greatest Showman is not all that well loved by people who know good musicals. It is lower on the tier list for people who love musicals, and The Chosen has a lot more that us as Christians can get out of it, even if there's a lot of controversy behind it and less more things to debate about. The fact that people are talking about them and the differences in how Jesus is portrayed or the disciples are portrayed. Roman, what does that even mean? The Chosen should win because of all of the meaning that I've gotten out of it, and so many other people have gotten out of it. I know you love Greatest Showman, but you also haven't given The Chosen a chance.
That's because I just haven't watched it. So I know I'm biased.
And now
That's
you're
like, I know I'm biased,
You are
and I don't care.
I think The Chosen should win. I'm sorry.
This is kind of a
I
good
think
one.
Prince of Egypt. Tell me I'm wrong, but I lean Prince of Egypt.
I kind of lean more towards Captain America because I like some of his
Oh
shows,
my gosh.
and I like his character. I really like his character.
You're right. Again, they're great.
But it is kind of hard. I think that if I was
I'll give it to
watch
Captain America.
I think if someone was to show me like any of the films from the Captain America movies versus like a film from like the Prince of Egypt, say we need to watch one of these tonight, which one do you want? I think I would probably honestly choose Captain America.
Yeah.
But it is a really close one to me though. I do like Prince of Egypt.
Let's do Captain America. We need to keep going. And Captain America, I love Winter Soldier. And that bubbler did not do well for my guts.
Yeah. How to Train Your Dragon probably.
Yes. Overlay Miz for sure. Yeah, and then that. Okay. So Guardians went ahead because it doesn't have a contestant. I'm gonna pick Andor over the prequels
I'm biased. I'd pick the prequels, but I'm biased, so because I watched it.
I think it's because you haven't watched Andor. I'm not saying that you're not valid in enjoying the prequels. I enjoy the prequels more than the average Star Wars fan. I still think Phantom Menace falls short. Attack of the Clones has its flaws. Revenge of the Sith is really good. Andor is really good. And maybe it's because it was wedged in between a bunch of other Star Wars shows that were not that great. But honestly, the themes that they explore, the internal struggles that are shown, and the way they developed a side character from a spinoff is crazy. And I'm gonna go Andor, and because you haven't seen Andor, I'm still gonna do that. And if anyone who's watching disagrees, just go watch Andor and see why I'm right. We'll go with that.
I haven't seen the Chosen, so I
still think Captain America wins because I'm thinking about like the last bracket, Chosen versus Greatest Showman. I think obviously Chosen wins, even though we already debated it a lot. But Captain America, I believe I would watch that over the Chosen for visual spectacle, especially fight scenes in Winter Soldier.
See, I mean, both of these are kind of like on the same level to me, but I don't have super strong opinions for either of them per se.
Sure.
I think I might lean more How to Train Your Dragon because I've watched all three of them and I liked just like the story and the characters and the world that they created. And I think I felt a little more invested into that than I did Guardians of the Galaxy.
You're right. I think we do How to Train Your Dragon. Again, Guardians is amazing. Guardians 3, the best Marvel movie we've had since No Way Home. But How to Train Your Dragon with the musical score, with the story, characters, it's going.
Captain America.
Can't say because you haven't seen Andor.
Yeah, I haven't seen Andor.
I know.
That's like my
I think I'm gonna go Captain America. I'm gonna kick Andor. Captain America still goes all the way, especially even if you consider that this represents the episode about Captain America that we did, and that also includes him picking up the hammer in Endgame. This is quarterfinals. Captain America versus How to Train Your Dragon, and it's up against Lord of the Rings. The winner of this goes against Lord of the Rings. So I wonder who's gonna win. You've seen both of these. What do you think?
I think I might go Captain America, mostly because I enjoy How to Train Your Dragon, but I don't really watch it. Like, especially as I've gotten older, like I think I would probably prefer Captain America because it's a bit more adult, for a lack of a better term. So I think I might go Captain America.
Okay. I'm gonna go Captain America, but consider that How to Train Your Dragon got third or fourth compared to what was the other one? It was Lord of the Rings versus original trilogy. So that's really good. Again, it's like arguing over S tier. It's not that bad. So I'm gonna go Captain America. This is our final matchup. And I don't think it's even a comparison.
Yeah, Lord of the
And I
Rings.
knew Lord of the Rings would win. It's always Lord of the Rings to the end. I'm disappointed, not because I didn't want Lord of the Rings to win, but I think I'm frustrated because Lord of the Rings always wins.
It's just so
And that's
good,
not
man.
a bad thing. They're great movies. They are good, but it seems unfair to everyone else. We go Lord of the Rings for the win. So give me that. That's dumb. Okay. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is the winner. Woo! I would love to do this with a different theme, whether we rank all the Marvel movies, whether we talk about Star Wars movies. I think this is I think this is
characters. I think characters might be an interesting one to do.
do characters. I mean, the tier list website exists for things like this. I think it's an amazing way to have these great conversations about, would you watch this over this? Would you rank this above this? I think it's so much fun. We might do more live streams. This is the first in many, I believe. And we might even do different things, like Josh and I play a lot of video games. Maybe we do some video game content on here.
Hey, get that Twitch
We are
stream,
going to, I'm going to, right after we close this, I think right after this, I need to go to the bathroom because this has been 2 hours and 16 minutes of me holding in all my bubbler and water. So I need to go to the bathroom. I can't believe I need to tell everybody that, but I am. But I'm also going to put these links to, or I'm going to do screenshots of what our list was, and then links to make your own, so that you can make your version without me getting in the way, because I am no authority. I just am the host of this podcast. So with that said, thank you. I could have, but also listening to a tier list makes no. That's dumb. Hello?
You're frozen.
I hear.
You were frozen for me for a minute. So, yeah, and I'll just say, if before anything else happens. So yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't think I've done a live stream before either. So yeah, it was fun. So yeah, thanks for everybody who came out to look at us, watch and talk about films that we like and stuff like that. So,
Am I frozen?
yeah,
was.
your face
Okay.
is your face is frozen. Right? You're like a. That's what you look like.
Let us know your rankings on the Discord, and we'll talk about it more over there. Know that you are loved. God bless.
Carry on, brothers.
Hello? Okay.
Ow.
Carry on. Okay. Bye.
Keep calm and carry on.
Oh
You're
my
still
goodness.